And this is Elizabeth, and welcome to You Should Meet My Friend, Andrea Reichwald. I met her through the Armed Services Arts Partnership, where she just moved from leading the DC chapter to the online chapter. I was just teasing her LinkedIn description is very dry, marketing manager specializing in project management, relationship building, training, and content creation. But it doesn't reflect all the energy and care that she puts into working with ASAP. It's an organization I've talked about a gazillion times on this podcast. So I'm super excited for you to meet Missy because I talk about ASAP all the time. And looking back, I saw that you've been at Ramstein. That's actually where Missy and I met, or I guess we got to know each other better at Ramstein. And that, you're from the Idaho, Utah area of the world. So it's my joy to bring together two great people I know so that they can get to know each other. So welcome to the podcast, Andrea.
Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. What a great introduction. And I will fix my LinkedIn profile. How boring is right.
Funny. Well, I mean, if you had something fancier on the ASAP website, then that would have been easier, but don't take this as a task.
Elizabeth said I have to. Okay.
So you are a military spouse and you just moved or you're getting ready to move?
Getting ready to move. We're in Northern Virginia right now. We're at the end of May. We're PCSing to San Antonio, Texas next month. My husband is actually already there. He's an active duty airman. He's a psychologist in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And he PCSed there last summer. And I stayed here with my 3 children for the past year so that kid number 2 could finish high school. She was entering her senior year. She graduates June 1st. And then we're moving to Texas at the best time of year to move to Texas.
The hottest time.
Hottest, driest, brownest time of the year. Yes. Can't wait.
You lived there before?
Yes, we have. That was our first duty station. My husband went to University of Minnesota. We lived in Minneapolis for about 15 years, and he joined the Air Force and got the health partner, a special air military scholarship for medical providers. Can't remember, HPSP scholarship. So he did his internship at Wilford Hall. That's the
that's where my daughter was born.
Building at Lackland, and then finished his dissertation that year. So San Antonio was our first year in the Air Force.
Fun. What year was that?
We were there from May of 2010 until June of 2011. And I was pregnant the entire time. Well, 9 months. Not the entire time it felt like it, but it was a rough year for us.
I'm only trying to see if that's where I know you from.
Both Missy and I have had assignments in the San Antonio area. Mine was like much earlier, 99 through 01. And Missy, when were you guys there?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up because I can't remember.
That was our first year in the Air Force. So we started in 2010. So any other assignments we've had where we might have crossed paths were since then.
Well, I'm just saying, I've always needed a psychologist. So it wouldn't surprise me. I know your husband.
I see. Yeah. When people meet him and he says what he does, he always gets a strange look. And he asks me, what is that about? Why do people react in such a kind of a dramatic way? And I said, because they think you're analyzing them on the spot, that you're making some deep medically based diagnosis of them because you're a psychologist. They don't know that you're just can't remember their first name already, even though they just use themselves.
Well, because I think deep down we all think we're a little weird and a little not normal, but honestly, I think we are all normal. Everyone just has little quirks here.
Oh, yeah.
But
for sure.
But also, I think it's getting tons better. Sorry to fall down this rabbit hole. I think it's getting tons better, but it used to be if you really sought out mental health care, which you should when you really need it, it could have a potential impact on your career as far as security clearances and access to certain spaces and things like that. So I believe that is getting a lot better in the military. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that hide problems that really need professionals because they're worried about how it's going to impact their job.
Yes. Amen to that. Most of us are in therapy because the people who need therapy aren't in therapy. That's my thing. It's my thought about that.
True.
We left San Antonio in 2010. So I had to look it
Oh,
up.
we probably just passed you on the interstate then. We were driving down from Minnesota. Which direction were you going?
We were heading to Rhode Island. So
Oh,
it's
we
very
probably
possible.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like at a rest stop or something. We ran into each other and spoke. No. Anyways, yeah, we lived on Randolph for 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We
So
lived right next to SeaWorld.
Ooh,
Ooh.
okay. I was at SeaWorld once.
Mhm.
See,
Maybe then.
That was like our summer swimming pool was at SeaWorld.
I know, right?
Because a
Yeah.
million years ago when I was there, you could get a season pass for, let's call it $50, like not a lot.
Yeah.
And so we would go. I will confess, we often went on Sunday mornings because most people were in church. And so
Oh,
we
yeah.
could take
Texas.
our
Yeah.
new baby on a very hot day and get in the water and get cooled off. And then we'd blast out of there before it got super hot.
There you go.
So smart.
Yeah. When I was there, Chris was deployed. And I think during that time, they gave me free tickets. I want to say.
Nice. Very nice.
If not, they should have, but I think they did.
So I got to know you, Andrea. I'm not even sure the first time we met through the Armed Services Arts Partnership. How did you get connected with the organization and then go to work for them?
Yes, I found ASAP through a military spouses Facebook group in the Washington, D.C. area known as GAMS.
Oh, yeah.
The
GAMS is
Greater
great.
Alexandria Military Spouses Group, but it's much bigger than Alexandria, called GAMS. I joined it because it is military spouse Facebook groups have become such a resourceful, helpful organization, really. I mean, they really are very organized. I joined it so that I could, ask all the questions about where I should live and schools and dentists and doctors and haircuts and oil changes. And we, at the time, were stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Hampton, Virginia. And moving to Northern Virginia meant a major increase in costs of living. And I had been working only part-time and needed to get a full-time job to afford the cost of living here. So there was a woman who worked for ASAP. Her name was Grace. She was a Marine spouse and said, I work for this great organization. We do free arts classes for the military community. I'd love to have another military spouse join. These are the kinds of things that we do, and this is the kind of person we're looking for. Send me a message if you're interested. And that's how I found out about ASAP. I'd never heard of them before, though they are the nation's largest military arts organization in the country. But they're also one of the military's or the nation's best kept secrets. So that's how I found out. I did some interviews and they hired me, and I arrived here in the summer of 2022 and started working for ASAP. And it has been the most amazing experience. I can't tell you the people I have met, both just lovely, amazing, kind people, as well as famous people, including Joe and Jill Biden. I got to go to the White House and meet them at the Veterans Day breakfast and have my picture taken right next to them.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yes, and I had just returned from an ASAP graduation show series in San Diego the night before, and we had to be at the gates to go into the White House onto the grounds at like 7 a.m. I was completely exhausted and was so excited. I didn't know that I was going to get to have my picture taken with them. I thought I was just going to the White House for breakfast, which was a thrill to me. I'm from Idaho. We don't just pass by the White House all the time in Idaho. So I was so excited. We had breakfast, and then I don't know how we were selected, but some people got to get in this line and we all got to have our pictures taken with the Bidens. And they called it was my turn. I was walking into this room. I got to the door. They said, Andrea Reichwald. And I walked in and I looked at Dr. Biden and I just burst into tears because I was so exhausted. And I said, I'm so happy to meet you. Through choking tears, she looked very sweet and concerned. And then President Biden said some nice thing to me, like, it's a beautiful day. And I said, ooh, and I got my picture taken. I'm all red and puffy. And then I walked out and then I cried all the way home because I was so tired and so exhausted.
Wow.
Anyway, you asked about how I found ASAP. So that was a highlight for me. But I also have been to the Kennedy Center, another place that I heard of and knew about from childhood. The Kennedy Center always had Kennedy Center honors on PBS. My dad always watched it when we were little in Southeast Idaho. I've been to the National Press Office. I mean, so many amazing stages and places I've been because of ASAP. And I've also just met fabulous, brilliant leaders in the arts, in politics. It's been an unbelievable experience. Things I never would have been able to do if I wasn't working for ASAP.
Yeah. I have to interject. My husband also got to meet the Obamas and the Biden. He did a USO show there at Andrews. And in the picture, he's standing next to, Jill Biden. And they both have these very big smiles on their faces. And I'm like, is she pinching you or something? Is she flirting with you? And so every time there's a picture of her or whatever, I'd say, honey, there's your girlfriend. Because they seem to be having a much better time than everybody else was having. So.
A secret you may never be let in on.
Now I'm going to start rumors.
What did your husband, what was he doing with the USO?
So he was just a special project manager for the wing there at Joint Base Andrews. And so that somehow that got to be one of his taskers, totally out of his element. He was basically a glorified event planner and knew how to get 2,500 matching chairs, with less than 24 hours notice and, porta potties and fencing. And so, yeah. So he did that. He also did any presidential visits or high profile visitors. For a guy who's an airfield management guy, that was really not what he had been trained to do, but he did well at it.
I'm also on the GAMS Facebook page, and I sense people's dread as they get orders because it's a huge area and there's a lot of differences in schools and a lot of differences in, what neighborhood you live in and the expense of renting or buying a home, and then also the distances of commutes. So I understand that totally, but just because you happen to be associated with the military in the capital, you end up with just some incredible opportunities that you would never, ever get.
Yeah, one of them is that I don't know if this administration is doing it, but under the Biden administration, they would invite members of the military community to help decorate the White House for Christmas. And they would invite, specific groups, maybe Gold Star families would go in for a day, but there was a day of military spouses. You could just put your name in a Google form hat. And if you got picked, you got to go help, I don't know, cut out paper gingerbread men or something. You got to help decorate the White House. But yeah, by being here, also, I think military families have maybe some kind of priority in doing like the Easter egg roll. I mean, yeah, that's White House specific opportunities. But if you're in the military, I mean, if you're stationed at Andrews, chances are you have been late going home one day because Air Force One was landing and nobody could leave their buildings for a few hours, which is a big annoyance, but also that's exciting.
Yeah. It is kind of cool.
This story is very, very old, but I was assigned to Andrews, and it was the day after Christmas and President Ford passed away. And we had a house full of family for Christmas. And I knew I'd have to go into work and help support and that kind of thing. But what I ended up doing, and this sounds really weird, but for the ceremony where they brought his casket to Washington, D.C., there's a huge ceremony on the airfield with a 21 gun salute with howitzers and all kinds of ceremony, as you would expect as Air Force One lands with the president and his family. And so I took my family. And so, because there was a place in the terminal where they could be totally out of the way and not a security concern, but they could watch firsthand this piece of history. And that wouldn't have ever happened unless just, my job and because I'm assigned to the capital region.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Well, and to keep on the theme of the arts, so my kids went to Calvert County schools in Northern Maryland. And my son got to start band in 4th grade. So we were there for 3 years. So he did 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then we moved across country to the other Washington, or as my native people like to say, Washington. And we get there and again, did a lot of research, find the best schools. And they didn't start band until sixth grade.
Mhm.
And so he shows up and he's already got 3 years and he flourished even more. And so I'm grateful for the DMV and their arts and that they do, fund all those things. Because
Mhm.
Calvert County Schools did a very good job of funding music and arts,
Mhm.
and at least at that time. And so, and he still plays today and he's in college and he just plays for fun and plays with the college group. And I think it's so important because it's a well-rounded kid that way.
So, Andrea, would you consider yourself a performer or a creative type person before you were associated with ASAP?
Not creative at all, no. But
Whatever.
my connection to the arts is that I grew up in a family where music was really, really important. My parents do neither of them played instruments,
Yeah.
but my father grew up loving classical music and was a connoisseur. And we grew up listening to constantly in his record player. He loved Maurice Ravel was his favorite composer, and Claude Debussy, Igor Stravinsky, Modest Mussorgsky. He loved John Williams. He loved George Gershwin. He loved Aaron Copland. And these were just not household names like the names of my friends, but I knew all of these names, Rodgers and Hammerstein. I knew all of these names because my father listened to music constantly and sang it. Most of it didn't have lyrics, but he sang it. He would hum it. He would dance with us. And then my mother, who I don't remember loving music really especially, insisted that we all take music lessons. So all five of us were from Southeast Idaho. All five of us took piano lessons, and she woke me up every morning at 6 a.m. to practice the piano with her. And then she got my sister up and she practiced from 6:30 to 7. And then it was my brother's turn from 7 to 7:30. So music was really, really important. I took piano lessons, I took violin lessons, we took dancing lessons. Just I didn't realize at the time. I mentioned that I grew up also on the Kennedy Center Awards, and
Oh, yeah.
my dad used to listen to, it depended on the performance, but Austin City Limits was also just
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Every Christmas Eve we had to watch Baryshnikov dance in the Nutcracker. It was always on PBS. I was just surrounded by it. My parents were just, considering their backgrounds, pretty refined people. I didn't appreciate it at the time. But so I've just played the piano always and never considered myself really especially connected to the arts. I've always just thought of the arts as people that can draw and paint. But yeah, I was a very good pianist and I won some awards and some competitions and I studied music in college. My children now play piano. So neither really a performer or a creator, but I just love music. Just music, I mean, in the arts in general, but for me, it's music, just has a way of lifting you above just worldly concerns, taking you to another place where you might make you really happy, might make you even sad, but just elevates your mind, your thoughts, your soul. It is my coping mechanism. It is everything. Music is just so powerful. And
Mhm.
yeah. And since I've worked at ASAP, it's been 4 years now, I have seen how the arts affect people in so many positive ways, not just in the ways that I mentioned, lifting your heart and your soul, but also
Mhm.
just helping you meet people and have fun with other people and talk about creative things and creating things. And in our classes at ASAP, a big part of the experience is connecting with other people and building each other up. Some of the classes we teach maybe go on for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and they culminate in a graduation performance. And it's an amazing, beautiful thing to see a group of adults try something new that they're nervous about, and they allow themselves to be vulnerable in a group of strangers.
Mhm.
Over the course of that class time, they become really supportive of each other. They build each other up. They all really want each other to do well. It's been amazing. I just have new appreciation for the transformative power of music, which sounds like a buzz phrase, but it's so true. It sounds like a tagline in a commercial, but it's really true.
Mhm.
That was a question I was going to ask you was I, like your mother, am not musically talented, but I made my kids pick up music. And so they all three can play an instrument. But that was one of my questions. Do you have to be artistic to be involved in ASAP? Do you got roles for us non artsy people?
Yes, every
But
ASAP class.
to support the arts. Yeah.
Yes, every ASAP class is taught for beginners, and we love someone who is taking a risk and trying something new. For
Yeah.
me, the risk would be taking a drawing or painting class. I struggle to draw a stick figure that looks like a stick figure. I know that if I'm looking at somebody else's stick figure, I can copy it. But if someone said just draw a stick figure, there's going to be an extra line somewhere, or I will mess it up somehow. So it would be terrifying for me to do that. And terrifying why? Because of the fear of failure, the fear of being ridiculed, the fear of creating something ugly. And none of those things will happen in an ASAP class. You could take a drawing class and not be able to draw a stick figure at the beginning or at the end, but you will never be made to feel less than or untalented,
Hmm.
unskilled, or that you don't have the ability. You will be lifted up, you will be encouraged, you will feel inspired, you'll feel better about yourself because you've taken an ASAP class. Now, drawing is just one example, but we also do intro to acting and intro to stand-up comedy and storytelling and ukulele playing and tango dancing and salsa dancing. And you can join a choir through ASAP. You can take an improv class, which is also very scary for people because they think in improv, I have to stand on the stage and improvise and be funny on the spot. And that's not what improv is at all. But that's also scary. Improv is just saying whatever you think and whatever you say, whatever comes to your mind. And when you say whatever comes to your mind, I'm going to say cat, and Elizabeth's going to say dog, and Missy's going to say tail, and I'm going to say fairy, and Elizabeth's going to say enchanted, and Missy's going to say storybook. It doesn't matter. All of those are yes. Yes. Whatever you said is correct. It's the most validating experience you can have. And the goal is not to be funny. The goal is to learn to listen to each other as a group, to create something together as a group. And I just think it's improv specifically. It's just, I think, fabulous. But yes, everyone can take an ASAP class, and it's great if we have someone who has a degree in acting taking an introduction to Shakespeare class. It's lovely if someone has said, I've never acted in my life, but I've always wanted to try it. And they do. And our goal is not to make them be great actors. Our goal is to help them feel good about themselves and feel connected and feel supported.
You invited me to speak at your teacher training conference, and I was just so impressed. Like, how do you find teachers and develop your curriculum? I know you have some sort of tentpole classes like comedy and storytelling, but how does that work? How do you develop your programming?
Thank you so much for coming to our teaching artist training, Elizabeth. I'll just say that it was the worst winter storm in the history of Washington, D.C., and the streets and sidewalks were covered in inches and inches of hard
Of
as
ice,
rock
yeah.
ice. And it was very dangerous, and parking lots were filled with ice. It was just terrible circumstances. Elizabeth braved it all and came in Saturday morning anyway. The way that we find our teaching artists is we identify a need for an art form. For example, someone might say, I've always wanted to take dancing lessons, or a program manager, that's my job, might identify, we've never taught a dance lesson class in Washington, D.C. And then we look for arts organizations that offer dance classes. We also regularly receive applications from teaching artists as well as military connected artists who want to teach for us. And so we have, I would say, more instructors. I shouldn't say we have more instructors. We have lots and lots and lots of instructors, but we're always looking for something new. For example, an Army veteran from Chicago signed up for one of our classes last year, was looking on our website and said, I teach ukulele classes online. Would you ever be interested in ukulele classes? It wasn't on my radar, but yes, absolutely we would. And in that case, we ship ukuleles to your house so you can take the class is free and the ukulele is free. Whenever possible, we look for a military connection in our instructors. But first and foremost, we want really great instructors who have experience. They know how to teach adults. And if they don't have a military connection, then that's one of the classes they would take when they come to our annual teaching artist training, which is an annual training. We bring all of our instructors from across the country in, and we do military culture competency training for the people that aren't connected to the military. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. That's how we find people. We call museums, we call arts organizations. We look literally for voice teachers, piano teachers, crochet teachers, knitting teachers, and find someone that has time and interest in working with the military community. And then we give them a chance. They teach maybe a 2 or 3 hour workshop, see if they like us, if we like them, and then maybe they teach a multi-week class.
Oh, very cool. Talk really briefly about like how your chapters work, your in-person versus online.
Yeah, we have a few in-person locations where you can go to a community center or a library and take a class there in person with other people in your area. Those locations are Washington, D.C., the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, Indiana, San Diego, San Antonio, and a couple others that are coming, Seattle, and I believe Los Angeles.
Oh, cool.
And we open chapters based on funding. If there's a donor that wants to give us a gift that will enable us to offer in-person programming, then we will make it happen. We do some research. We want to make sure there's a significant military community there, that there's a thriving arts community, so that we have teachers who can teach the classes for us and places where we can hold our classes. But for all of the locations, we teach online classes, and our instructors are from across the country. Many of our instructors who teach in Washington, D.C. or San Diego or San Antonio also teach online. And so our online classes are just as interactive, just as good at creating connection. And we see regularly at the end of a 6-week class, for example, during the graduation show, class participants will sometimes be in tears that the class is ending. They've looked forward to it. They tried something new. They were scared and nervous and excited. They had a really great experience, and they're really sad when it ends. But it's a great experience, and we see people come back again and again and again and again and again. If you take an ASAP class, you won't stop. You'll take another one and another one.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and I thought you guys did a good job, maybe because you already were doing some stuff online. You did a great job sort of navigating through COVID too.
So this was before my time. I understand that we started online programs in the summer of 2020, but hadn't done a lot before, maybe some. And I think maybe the idea was to just keep the organization going. We'll do a little bit of online programming. I think they were doing monthly performances and had some pretty, I think even big name comedians do online shows for ASAP. And then when I started in 2022, we were just starting to resume in-person programming. But there was such a demand. We'd gone from no online programs to 2 years later, such a demand for online classes and workshops that we couldn't keep up with it, and decided we should probably continue offering these classes. We'd also hired some instructors who only taught online in the meantime and wanted to keep teaching. So yeah, our online program, I mean, I don't know how many people participated in 2020, but in 2025, we had, I think, 1,500 people join us in online classes.
Oh, wow.
It's grown a lot. And this year it should be around 2,000, 2,500. We'll see. I'm actually going to be managing our online programs once I'm settled in San Antonio. So I'll be responsible for all online classes and workshops. Until this point, our program managers in each of those in-person locations we all shared doing online classes, but I'll be doing it alone, which means I'll have more time to devote to it. So we'll have a lot more programs. And if you apply to a class and you get waitlisted or you get rejected because it's already filled, just apply for another one, or email me and tell me you really want to take the class, and I'll probably be able to schedule another one, and I'll just make sure you get in.
I know secretly Missy wants to take a stand-up class, so we need to talk her into that.
Oh, I know a guy named Andrea Reichwald who has one ready to go in July if you want to give it a chance. The thing about our stand-up class is, my understanding is most stand-up comedy classes consist of a large group of people coming in with some jokes, and a comedy instructor, for the most part, tells them why they don't work. In our classes, we explain how you write a joke, give you homework to work on that. You bring it back next week. The instructors say, okay, here's what I liked. Here's what could be better. Here's a little more homework. Here's a little more homework. And at the end of 6 weeks, you have a 5-minute set of jokes, which our professional comics have reviewed and vetted. We have really strict content guidelines, so we make sure that your jokes aren't misogynistic or racist or homophobic. We make sure that they're not political. We make sure that you're not making fun of any group, unless it is your group. If you're a military spouse and you want to make jokes about military spouses, that's probably okay. If you're a woman veteran and you want to make jokes about women veterans, it better be really funny, because I have a lot of respect for women veterans. I don't think they should be made fun of ever, but you can. But yeah, you should definitely try it, Missy. I'll just send you a link to the application.
My whole set I have envisioned, because I've been keeping notes, is about my day job. I work in a funeral home. And there's a lot of good content.
There's a lot of good content there.
A lot of good content. But obviously I would not use names. But yeah, but some of mine, I feel like I do a good job with improv. But we have an improv group here, and I've been too chicken to try it.
You should try it.
I know.
Improvisers and improv teachers are so good at making you feel comfortable right away. And, you know, I like to be very snarky and jokey, and people say, oh, you're funny. You should try stand-up comedy. But that's a very different skill set. The ability to just be kind of snarky on the fly and make jokes is very different than writing 5 minutes of jokes and standing up on a stage and monologuing and making people laugh, people who don't know you. That's very different. Terrifying to me. I'd much rather improv. You should try improv. I think it's play for adults. I think it's, that's really what you did as a kid. You were just, making up stories with your dolls and your characters, and everything was very dramatic. I think it's good for the soul, improv.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love all the non-performing ASAP classes, but I have been kicking around the idea of challenging myself to take the storytelling one, or I don't know if I could do the stand-up comedy one, but
try storytelling. It's a very good course. The instructor helps you find, you start with brainstorming, like all these different things in your life, and they help you hone in on a specific story. And then it's kind of a public speaking class also. So there are skills learned so that you don't speak the way I do, which is with constant these verbal crutches. But it's a great class. It helps you tell your elevator speech, kind of like, this is me, this is who I am. Our storytelling is similar to the Moth style storytelling. You're telling a story from your own personal life. There is storytelling, which is fairy tale storytelling or historical storytelling. The storytelling that we teach in our 6-week class is a personal story of your own. And ASAP has no requirement that you tell a military story. That you can tell it can be about the time you went hiking and got lost. It could be about the time you were driving and your car broke down. It could be about the time you were with your 2-year-old in the grocery store and they went miss. It's, it can be anything. It can be funny. It can be kind of heavy. Anything goes. I think you would be great, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Well, and we haven't said this, and I think it's important for our, as we call it, our dozens and dozens of listeners, that ASAP is open to military veterans, spouses, and caregivers, and all of their classes are free.
Yes, very important to mention. Yes, everything is free, and it isn't free class and then you have to pay after. We do 3-week, 4-week, 6-week classes, or we might do a one-time workshop. Our programs are open to active duty, veterans, reservists, military spouses, family members. Our programs are open to adults only, so you have to be at least 18. But if you're the child of a military member, you grew up as an Army brat, an Air Force brat. We're in the Air Force. You're eligible to take programs. Also, caregivers and survivors. If you have a family member that was a military member has passed away, you can also take classes with us. And we do just want to mention, in addition to the programs that are open to the public, we also do classes and workshops for specific veteran service organizations. For example, Wounded Warrior Project, which is one of our donors. We do workshops and classes just for wounded warriors who are also eligible to take ASAP classes. Again, anyone connected to the military can take an ASAP class. I hear people say regularly, well, I'm not in ASAP, so I can't take a class. And I say, take a class and then you're an ASAP. That's all it takes. We'll send you a t-shirt if that would help, but just take a class and now you're in ASAP and you can take all the classes you want. But yes, all of the programs are free. We have made possible by donors. We have both federal funding, we have corporate givers, philanthropic givers given us very generous gifts, and that's how it's all made possible.
That's great.
So tell me all the famous people you've met.
Well, the most famous were the Bidens.
Okay.
I met the last time I cried meeting someone was Bob Hope's daughter, Linda. She came to our annual gala called Armed with the Arts in December. And I don't know why I did. I was just so amazed that she came. So I just shook her hand. My dad loved Bob Hope, and I couldn't believe I was shaking the hand of Bob Hope's daughter. She was there with her son and members of the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation board. So that was very exciting. Elaine Cho came to our Armed with the Arts as well. That was very exciting.
Oh.
I think famous people. I think we've had some senators and members of Congress come to Armed with the Arts, whose names I now don't remember because it's been a few years. So the ASAP's brushes with fame came mostly during COVID. We do have, if you're familiar with the band, The War and Treaty, they've performed for us a few times. They've done fundraisers for us.
Wow.
They came to an event at the National Press Club, and just lovely, down to earth people. But the famous comics that we've rubbed shoulders with, I was not here. My shoulders were not rubbing with theirs, but yeah, I missed all of them. We'll see. We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, and we know you're going to cry no matter what. When you
it doesn't matter who they are, right? I know. Yes. I don't know. I'm just like starry-eyed over celebrity and fame, I guess. You were amazing.
I have one last question, and then we should dive into the actual questions we shared with you in advance. And that is, ASAP events tend to be on evenings and weeknights. And you mentioned that you had traveled out to a graduation show in San Diego. And for the last year, you've been single momming it with your kids. So how has that worked for you?
Well, thank you. It hasn't worked. It's been terrible. I don't travel to San Diego anymore. We have a full-time program manager there. I used to travel to Indiana as well. We have a full-time program manager there. It's been a very, very rough year, and I felt at times that I was just being twisted in so many ways that I didn't know that I would survive. My husband was gone. After he got to San Antonio, a few months later, he got deployed to Eastern Africa. So he was in Africa while I was here with my children. My mother lived with us this winter. She's 84, 85, has dementia, and wasn't safe for her to be home alone. I have lots of siblings. Not everyone was able to have her. So she was with me for a while. She was with a sister for a while. That was difficult. And then I'm parenting 3 children, and we've got just some mental, physical health issues that are your parents. Nothing is ever easy. So it's been really, really hard. ASAP, though, as a workplace, is the most supportive, humane, lovely place I've ever worked. We're a small team with a huge mission and are very, very careful about protecting work-life balance and maintaining our own mental health, both because we're managing our own lives and we're also providing, to a degree, mental health support for the very large military community. We will have sometimes people just reach out to us randomly and asking if we have any suggestions for a homeless veteran or a veteran who needs an electric chair or a veteran who's struggling with food or just, all of the things that can come up in anyone's life. But because we're military connected, they'll reach out to us. And we always respond, even if someone is asking for housing assistance. That's not a service that we provide, but we will Google and make phone calls and we'll provide whatever help we can, and try to get them in touch with the right people. We're contacted regularly by members of the community who have significant mental health struggles, and we will do a live call to 988. There are other online resources that we've used on behalf of community members to make sure they're getting mental health support they need. But all of that said, and we all really, really care about the community and what we're doing. And so that isn't burdensome, but it can be tiring and hard and draining. And so we just have a culture of taking time off when we need to. Everyone is working hard. Everyone's getting their job done. No one is checking to make sure that your Slack status is always green. No one is saying, I sent that email 20 minutes ago and haven't had a response yet, and they don't have any meetings now. Obviously, she's doing her nails. And if I was doing my nails, no one would care. They would probably cheer that on. So it's just a great supportive organization. Every Monday, we start our meetings with positive stories, and we tell not our own, but we do shout outs for other people of the team. And we just say the things we appreciated, or the nice things someone did, or the above and beyond things someone did. So it's very positive. It's very supportive. It's very encouraging. And that has made such a big difference. If I was a working full-time, not single mom. I'm not a single mom. I have about my spouse, but managing it all by myself. And we're getting ready for a PCS, and I'm doing that by myself. It would have been, I think, impossible. I don't know. I don't think I would have been able to do it. So that's how I manage it all. ASAP makes it's an amazing organization to work for. The mission is fabulous, and the staff members are just above and beyond.
Will you continue to work for them when you move to San Antonio?
Yes, that's the thing. So I thought no when I told them 16 months ago, my husband's getting orders to San Antonio. This is my 16-month notice. They, almost immediately said, well, no, absolutely. You're not quitting. We'll keep you. We'll figure it out. And then within a few months said, we got funding to do more online programs, and we definitely want to keep you. So we'll just have you be our full-time online program manager.
Oh. Good.
I make it sound like it was no big deal, but they had to find funding for that. They had to find a donor for that, but they did. So we've got an amazing development team. They're brilliant.
That's great. That's really cool. Plus you have 4 or 5 years now of work for an organization. So obviously they didn't want to lose that experience.
Right. And that's what I keep telling them when I mess up on other stuff. I say, remember, even though I didn't do that right, I know stuff. And surely you want me to stay with the organization, right? Because I could be helpful at some point, though I wasn't in this instance. Right. Yeah. No. I would never say that. They would never make me feel that way. No.
Mm-hmm. Well, should we dive into our questions, Missy?
Absolutely. I will start off with the first question. Andrea, what quote, Bible verse, mantra do you live by? Can be a few words or a bunch of words.
It's a bunch of words. As I mentioned, have been going through a very stressful, difficult, painful time of life. So the mantras that I repeat to myself and sometimes to my children are all about coping. I just want to make this preface. Coping with difficult situations. So I tell myself things like, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
This too shall end. I can do hard things. And we have a funny mantra at ASAP. It's funny, but I also have incorporated into my regular life, which is not everything can be ASAP at ASAP. And I think about that in my regular life. Not everything can happen right now. Mm-hmm. And it's important to, just like you have meetings and appointments and medical appointments and all the things you have to do, sometimes you just have to say, and I do all the time, it's 6:00. And I tell my children, because they're old enough now, no one gets to talk to me for an hour. Nobody talks to me for an hour. And they understand that and appreciate that. So, but my life motto, or the motto I like to think that I follow, or what I tell my children, is that you should always lead with kindness. You don't know what's going on in someone else's life. Their words, their actions may not be what you would have hoped for, things that you would have said or done, but just assume that someone is going through a tragedy. It's probably a safe assumption of some sort. They themselves
Mhm.
personally, or someone they know is going through a tragedy, and treat them delicately and kindly. Life is just so much easier. You just see anger just kind of fades off of people's faces when you don't meet anger with anger or contention with contention, but you're just kind and open. That's really my life motto. Just lead with kindness.
Well,
That's
that's good. That's a good
a good
mantra.
one. It
Yeah.
is.
I'm not always able to keep up to that. It's my goal.
Yep.
If someone is
Understandable.
not driving at a green light, all that kindness goes right out of my mind. If they're checking their phone at a green light and not moving in their car, there's no kindness.
Exactly.
This will be an interesting answer from
Yes.
you is what is a song or musician you put on blast when having a bad day or a song that brightens your day?
Oh, I mean, I don't love all genres of music, but I love so many musicians. I grew up in the 1980s and my favorite bands, I mean, I've added more bands to my favorites, but I love U2 and REM. And in junior high, I listened to Guns N' Roses and Pearl Jam and all the bands from the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
I really love anything by Earth, Wind, and Fire. That it doesn't matter what's happening in my life, I'm immediately happy. Yeah, just it depends on the mood and what I'm trying to achieve. If I'm quite tired, I might just listen to classical music. But if I'm just having a good day, I mean, I can't even begin. There is not one song. There's just music in general. Just takes me
Yeah.
immediately out of where I am mentally and takes me to a better, lighter place.
That was a good, well-rounded answer.
I won't say anything about the musical genres I don't like.
I like
It
that.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I can probably guess, but that's okay. What is a food or a smell that invokes a good memory?
All food makes me feel happy. All
Yeah.
smells of food, I think mostly, as long as it's not spoiled, makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
But the smell that I've always loved as a girl growing up in Southeast Idaho, which is a pretty dry, arid climate, we rarely have rain there. Maybe two or three, maybe four times a year. And
Oh,
I
wow.
grew up on a farm of crops, not an animal farm, and the smell of wheat and grass after rain is just magical. I just love it. I want to just soak it up. It just makes me feel calm and peaceful and happy. And so to this day, I never get tired of rain. It was a magical event where I lived, and every time it rains, it's still a little bit exciting for me. It's raining. Even here in Virginia, where it rains a lot, it's raining.
Well, it snowed here in the Cache Valley today.
Oh,
So
Today, really?
yeah, not on the valley floor, but up in the foothills. And it looks like it's still snowing. This is kind of late in the season for snow, but we need it. So every little
yes.
bit up there helps.
Yes, I'm hearing all about it. I have uncles that live in Idaho. They're skiers, and they've talked about how the ski resorts haven't had snow. They're threatening closing down. I
Yeah.
can't believe you just said Cache Valley. That makes me so happy. That's
Yeah.
the area of Logan in Northeast
Ah,
Utah, Cache Valley.
a little piece of heaven.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So this may be a softball question, but what organization do you support you'd like to share with our listeners?
You can take some time to think about it if
Can
you
I
need.
name more than can I name ASAP, Armed Services Arts Partnership, ASAP,
Right.
asap.org, in case you haven't heard of it. Can I name the one? It's not really
Absolutely.
connected. Okay, so the other one, before I knew about ASAP, I knew about this one. It's called Fuji's Family, Fuji being a slang for refugee. It's a nonprofit that has created schools in the United States for refugee children, children survivors of war who have come to the United States, who may or may not be here with their parents, and who, when they are with their parents, are with parents who may not be English speakers, who themselves have escaped war and are struggling. And we all know the story of immigrants immigrants and refugees in the United States and the struggles they face. So Fuji's Family is the name of the organization. The founder is a college friend of mine. Her name is Luma Mufla. She is an immigrant actually from Jordan. She went to Smith College, where I went to college, and she was not sure what she was going to do in her life. She's a lesbian, couldn't go back to Jordan, could get killed. And her family's very closely connected to the king of Jordan. I think her grandfather was the advisor to the last king when he was very young. So her family's very wealthy, well connected. She came to the United States to go to college. She couldn't go back to Jordan. It wasn't safe. And her family essentially at the time cut her off. So she was struggling. She was living in Atlanta trying to, I think she was creating websites for businesses. She stumbled into this apartment complex and there were a group of boys kicking just a battered soccer ball, and all of them had shoes. And she grew up in Jordan as a soccer player and offered to play soccer with them and learned from the boys, kind of asking them their life, what was going on. She just heard all the stories about their mothers traveling for an hour and a half to get into Atlanta to do housekeeping at a hotel, not getting home until late, running out of food at the end of just the endless list of problems, the mothers not being able to navigate the public school system. So she started a soccer club for these children, and that was called the Fugees, was the soccer club. It developed into this nonprofit. She's now built schools for these refugee children. It's been around for about 20 years. She has written books. She's been on TED Talks. Fugees Family. It's just an amazing organization.
Very cool.
Well, and Elizabeth and I, both of our church families in the last
yeah.
sponsored refugee families. And ours was through the Catholic Relief Society, and they actually came through. It was a State Department initiative that got them a family. Mm-hmm. And they came here, and by the grace of the fact that we are a university town, we had one person in town who spoke their language. They did not speak a common language. Oh, wow. And she was a godsend. And then we found a community from the same culture, because it's a cultural dialect, in Salt Lake City. And now that family has moved out of Utah to be closer to family. And he has a full-time job with benefits, and they're expecting a baby. And,
it's inspiring. Not to get too political, but I did hear someone say once that immigrants are the best patriots this country has. They love this country in a way that most Americans, we say we love it, but it's all we've ever known. But there are people who come here and, there's an immigrant family down the street from us and they wave the American flag. No rain, shine.
I have the same theory about when you're in the military and you deploy or just live overseas, you get a greater appreciation for your home country by spending time outside of your home country.
Absolutely. You appreciate things about your home country, and you get to see things that work better in other countries and think, we could do this.
Exactly.
This is amazing. That America, that it is a fabulous country, and other countries have some pretty fabulous things too, and we have something to learn. It's a good experience. Travel is important.
Yeah. What do they say, that traveling or living in another culture is the best way to get rid of all those stereotypes that we have and all those, we think we know how things should work or whatever, biases.
Right.
And, So when we moved here to the Cache Valley and so many things are closed on Sundays, I'm like, oh, just like Europe. And then when my house doesn't have air conditioning, people are like, how do you survive? And I'm like, I lived in Europe for 5 years. I know how to cool down a house. The last question we have for you is, what friend do you have with an interesting story to share that we could maybe interview?
So many.
I bet.
Friends with an interesting story to tell. I mean, so many. You could interview every single member of ASAP staff, every single instructor we have. A person that always stands out to me because she is otherwise so unassuming and quiet and humble, but is a brilliant creative powerhouse. Her name is Ann Barlieb, and she's an Army veteran. I think she was an Apache pilot. She came home from all of the deployments, and she's very open about really significant mental health challenges. that she has used through years of therapy and treatment now is just a community builder. She is a poet. She's a spoken word artist. She composed a poem for one of our annual fundraisers that's just beautiful. She is fabulous. I don't know if she'll be on the podcast. She's not a self-promoter. She's just amazing, brilliant, creative, but she doesn't want anyone to know. She's a Dog Tag Bakery graduate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is she the Dog Tag Bakery?
Mm-hmm.
She's done their they have a like a
Internship program.
Yeah, an internship program for veterans, pretty competitive, and the classes are at Georgetown University or in conjunction with Georgetown University.
Oh,
Anyway, it's a very competitive program, but yeah, Anne is one of their graduates and just a big supporter of Dog Tag Bakery is a bakery, but they have, first and foremost, they're this nonprofit that does this internship program for military veterans, and she's one of their graduates and one of their cheerleaders and spokespeople.
Very cool.
That is cool.
Well, Andrea, we can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're a very busy person. I knew you were getting ready to move as well. So we very, very much appreciate spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. It is my honor. I don't know that I've been on a podcast before, so thanks for giving me a chance.
Oh, of course. Of course. I was going to say our mission is that, there's a million podcasts that interview like celebrities and influencers and stuff like that. And what Missy and our mission is to interview everyday people who are our friends who actually are extraordinary. They just might not realize it.
Oh, you guys, that's really generous. Right? I love that. That's what ASAP is all about. We give people a stage, people who think they don't deserve it or don't have anything to share. I'm a big believer in this, that you have something to give and to share, and it will be good for you and good for humanity if you do. And it doesn't help anyone for you to just be small and keep your light dim, but go ahead and shine and be your whole self, and the people who need you will find you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So good to see you, Elizabeth.
Good to see you too.
Back to DC after a stint in Texas, so I hope I see you. And
all right.
Missy, I will be in Idaho Falls in September. My mother always wants to go to Logan, so I will look you up, and maybe we can get together at the Bluebird if they finish.
Maybe
in time.
Yes, follow them on social media so you know.
That's a great idea.
Disappointed, but yes, I would love to. I would love to meet you for a cream soda.
Cream soda, and then a Merry Widow. That's one of the an Aggie bar. Those are the chocolates that the Bluebird.
Oh yeah, the Aggie bar.
Yeah, sugar.
We can get some Aggie ice cream afterwards, and we'll just do the whole.
Right. And then we'll just need a long nap because we will all have the sugar crash.
That's right. Okay, Andrea, it was nice meeting you.
Good to meet you. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. I take off Wednesday for California for about 6 days.
Nice.
And after that, I'll come back for a couple days, and then I'm doing the Elizabeth Auld lifestyle. I'll be back for a couple days, and then I'll leave for a couple days, and then I'll be here for a while, and then I'll leave for a couple more days. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, that's how we roll. But that's how you get your laundry done, because you only have a short amount of time to get it done and put it back into a suitcase.
This is true.
But at least we're not PCSing like Andrea. So I'm so excited you got to meet her. I feel like you guys have very similar personalities.
Yeah. It is inspiring. I should do a stand-up comedy class or improv. She's very inspiring. She makes me think I can actually do it. But it is nice to, I don't know, that military spouses are finding their niche within the military, like 1 foot in the military community and 1 foot in something adjacent. And I can tell she's doing that very well. And you've benefited from ASAP, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and I didn't get a chance to tell Andrea that, I learned about them because I went to Beth Jarvis's graduation class when she did stand-up comedy.
Oh, yes.
And then, of course, and then also we have interviewed Robin Johnson, who's a graduate of ASAP, and she is 100% correct in that we signed into the graduation show. I must have given them my email when I signed in. And then I became on their mailing list. And then after a while, you can't not want to try something that they have to offer. So
exactly. Yes. She's very fun, very easy to talk to. And I wish her all the best as she does that dreaded move again. Once again, I don't miss it at all.
No,
Oh,
I don't either. I really
yeah.
don't. I've been cleaning out different closets in our house, and a friend of mine said, "Are you moving?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not
No,
moving. I have no children in my house any longer.
right.
So the stuff in the way back of the closet that nobody uses, I'm trying to get rid of." But it was sort of funny that someone's like, "Hey, are you moving? Because you keep posting things you're giving away."
Yeah, that's the number one sign that someone has orders. So where are you heading?
We are taking it's our trip to Croatia. We leave on
Oh,
Saturday.
fun. That'll be awesome.
So I'm very
Well,
excited. We have like 2 days on our own, and then we join the tour. And then when the tour ends, we have another 2 days, and then we're going to come home.
nice. Well, enjoy it. Take lots of pictures, drink lots of good wine, and eat a lot of good food.
That is the plan for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. I will talk to you later, friend.
Okay. See you,
Okay.
Missy.
Bye.
Bye bye. Find us at facebook.com/YSMMF podcast and Instagram at YSMMF podcast for episode announcements. Thanks.
I always used to say, like, I want children. I just want to adopt them after they have a college degree. They're welcome. Also, if they are medical professionals, that would be great.
That would be helpful. That would help you navigate through a lot of difficult things as an older adult, I think.
Right. This is my child. He is 47 and just joined the family with a medical degree.